You know, I told my wife that when she was going to leave me because I had lost my values and I wasn't doing, saying, thinking, feeling, believing the way I was when she met me. And I was a liar, a cheater, a manipulator, overseller, back-end seller. And she saw the writing on the wall. I was not being kind to my future self. And I told my wife, look, I'm going to change, but know that I can't change overnight.
If you could give one tip to the young entrepreneur that doesn't exactly know where they're going to go or how they're going to get there, what would that be?
Ask for help. But what actually needs to be taught is the more you give, the more you're given. The more you're given, the more you can receive if you ask more. And if you ask for more, then you'll end up with more than more, then you're able to give more than more, be given more than more. Guess where you end up when you're 80 years old? With more than enough of everything for everyone.
One thing that you say frequently in your podcast is to be kind to your future self. What do you mean by that?
It's understanding that
the abundance mindset. That's probably the number one mindset that we see in people that are creating a substantial net worth and scaling businesses. What is the piece of advice you could give to somebody that may not be in that spot right now?
here they are.
How can you coach somebody to start having those self-beliefs that they are wealthy, they are healthy, they do have this amazing life and opportunity?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So
Welcome back to the Shane Holmes podcast. Today we have David Meltzer, a famous sports executive, author, and entrepreneur. David, thank you so much for having me out here.
man, you make my day, because when I look at entrepreneurs like yourself, I think of myself when I was 30 years old with everything in front of me, except for you have something that I don't have, which is humility. And one of the rules of real estate to me is there's two types of real estate investors and executives. One, there's the humble ones. And then two, there's those that are about to be humble.
Yeah.
So I give
we
you
gotta
my
clip that, dude.
my appreciation for being so humble at such a young age.
Thanks, man. I like we were talking about a little earlier, I watched my parents lose everything in the real estate crash. So now when I analyze investments and things like that, I know what the other side looks like. So I could see how easy it is to just go gung ho. What created that humility in you with your deals and such?
You know, it was far beyond real estate. For me, it was my identity. I grew up so poor with a single mom, 6 kids. My mom worked 2 jobs as a second grade teacher, packed my dinner with my siblings into a paper bag and put us in a station wagon, filled up turnstiles at convenience stores with greeting cards just so I could eat. But I grew up so happy and fulfilled. The only time I wasn't happy was when I catch my mom crying because she couldn't afford something, to fix something or to send us somewhere or for food. And so in my mind at a very young age, I believed that in order to be happy, money was necessary. Yeah. Money would buy me that happiness. The only missing happiness, security and stability that I never had.
Yeah.
And I went through a journey that's interesting because everything I did confirmed that, not denied it. 9 months out of law school, I was a millionaire, bought my mom a house and a car, felt the love.
Yeah.
2 years later, we exited for $3.4 billion. I bought a whole bunch of stuff for myself, felt the love, and my friends, felt the love.
Yeah.
Then I made even more money in the Silicon Valley as I ended up in 1999 running Samsung's phone division. And I felt the love from my dream girl who hated me from the 4th grade, the girl at 6th grade camp that told me no. All of a sudden, I felt the love. Yeah. And there was somewhere around 30 years old that I started to buy my own bullshit. I lost stock in who I was and what I wanted to become. Mm-hmm. And for me, that was the journey to the lesson about real estate, to understand that money doesn't buy love. Mm-hmm. It doesn't buy happiness, but it allows you to shop. And if you shop for the right things, for the right reasons, for the sake of what, you're going to be really happy. But unfortunately for me and probably your parents, I had to learn that lesson in 2008, lost over $100 million, all of my homes, ski mountain, golf course, everything I own. I went to one rented house with rented furniture and 1 car.
Oh man, what a story. What an absolute story. So one thing that you say frequently in your podcast is to be kind to your future self. What do you mean by that?
Well, time is something I study every day. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, human beings attach their emotions to the outcomes today as if they understand or know what's happening today is determinative upon where they want to be or better. And so they feel punished when you lose everything. See, not only did I lose everything, I had to go tell my mom that I lost everything, and I lost her house because I didn't take my name off title. So my basement had a basement because the only reason I wanted to be rich was to buy my mom a house.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's understanding that I don't understand or know the outcomes of today and how they're relative to getting me to where I want to be or better. So therefore that humility comes into play with faith and wisdom. So when I lost everything, instead of feeling punished, instead of feeling like I couldn't do it, I felt promoted and protected and loved because I was going to find the lessons in it to get me to a better place, a better position. And I'll tell you today that although most people look at that moment in my life as a punishment, as a loss, as a tragedy and a struggle, it doesn't mean that today, 17 years later, to me. What it means to me is promotion, protection, and love, that it saved my life. And if you don't believe it saved my life, it definitely saved my marriage, which has saved my life.
Yeah.
So in the alternative or transitive property of saving lives, I have learned that when things happen today that you don't understand or know, they seem like punishment. People are attacking you, laughing at you, making fun of you. Be kind to your future self.
Yep.
Do good deeds and know that you're protected, promoted, and loved.
Love that. Love that. If you could give one tip to the young entrepreneur that's 20 years old that doesn't exactly know where they're going to go or how they're going to get there, what would that be?
I think it's the same advice I would have given you when you were 20 and me when I was 20. It's the same advice I give to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and even 90-year-olds. It's ask for help. People don't ask for help. In fact, they don't understand giving because we all, the good people out there, the generous people, teachers, first responders, all of our United States veterans, all the good realtors, all the good lawyers and insurance guys, we all believe the more we give, the more we'll receive. But what actually needs to be taught is the more you give, the more you're given. The more you're given, the more you can receive if you ask more.
Yeah.
And if you ask for more, then you'll end up with more than more. Then you're able to give more than more, be given more than more, be able to receive more than more, and then ask for more than more than more.
Yeah.
Guess where you end up when you're 80 years old? With more than enough of everything for everyone. In the abundant state of mind that you and I have learned, you at a younger age at 30, me at 56, that we live in a world of more than enough. And therefore, we are going to give away everything, be given everything. We're going to receive everything because we ask for everything as well.
Yeah.
And that's the infinite loop that people need to be in. And therefore, the fastest way to get to where you want to be is to either ask someone who sits in the situation that you want to be in and ask them for help, or find someone and give them help to get them to where they want to be. That's the only way to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, I love that. And we were just talking about how I'm going to start a real estate fund to go after multifamily, and how I'm taking that advice that you just gave to everybody that's listening, that I'm going to go meet with a guy that's already done it. I understand the numbers. I understand how I can uniquely add value with building ADUs and forcing the NOI up and things like that. But I haven't done it before. So to your point, sitting down with people and learning how they operate is the number one asset that I think that someone can have in business, as to not go out and do it yourself.
Yeah, especially when you're creating a fund, right? Because you're actually just leveraging the past experiences, cycles, successes, and failures. I created something called Meltzer funding, and it's to bridge people with the hardest dollars that are needed, meaning $0 to $500,000. Sometimes that's the difference to get that bridge that you need from $0 to $500,000.
Yeah.
And how many people are stuck there today? So if anyone's stuck there today, especially women and women of color, who I particularly think are underrepresented in the bridge financing world, no one's giving them a chance with money to prove their superior capability. And I'm speaking about women, especially women of color, who are more capable than guys like you and I.
Yeah.
They've proven it statistically from Sand Hill Road to every other small business or entrepreneurship because of their desire that they must be what they can be. But, you know, Meltzer funding to me is my crown jewel. that I'm able and capable of taking all the dummy tax that I paid and not only using that dummy tax to pay other people's dummy tax, but giving them the wisdom along with the capital in order to facilitate an acceleration and aggregation and a compounding exponentially of their outcomes of where they want to be. So I applaud you for finding someone in the multifamily space before you pick up your fund. I just have to say one more thing. We live in California. And the biggest thing with the high net wealth individuals that I play with, they're like, dude, how can you pay those taxes in California? And I look at them straight in the eye. I say, number one, I consider it a weather tax.
It is.
And it's worth it. But two, it's also the state taxes, even federal taxes, that's nothing, bro, compared to dummy tax.
It's not
and
even
so
close.
you can live in any tax-free environment that you want. But if you pay the dummy tax, it won't matter what your taxes are because you're going to have no money to pay taxes on.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, I get a lot of people ask me about California tax, and I think of it the same way as you do with the weather. Like, okay, your federal taxes are, let's call it 13% higher. 13% higher than a different state. I will pay that money to live where I want to live. 10 times out of 10. And some people just can't, like, it doesn't sit well with them. And I get it because sometimes it adds up to a huge number. But personally, I'm going to pay it. It's cool here. And do you look at it the same way as, like,
Absolutely.
what's your
I think
outlook?
Also, too, that California, when you think energetically, the people that founded California were people that had imaginations. They were risk takers, right? They had to also be stronger because they had to survive by horseback or to make it all the way out there. Yeah. So we're founded with that type of energy. And if anyone's willing to not worry or be scarce about giving money to our government to have better infrastructure, better schools, better healthcare, all the things that California has, better weather. And if they're not willing to make that investment, I'd rather surround myself with like-minded, like-hearted, and like-handed people like you and I, and let the scarce people that aren't willing to invest in their state, aren't willing to invest in the future of their state, and actually aren't willing to invest in themselves, let them leave to the states where, you know, they have power outages and their families are sitting in homes freezing to death because they wanted to save 13%.
Yeah, a lot of what we've been talking about is the abundance mindset. And I think we can agree on this, that that's probably the number one mindset that we see in people that are creating a substantial net worth and scaling businesses. What is the piece of advice you could give to somebody that may not be in that spot right now, that doesn't have that abundance mindset? How can you help get somebody there that may be listening?
First of all, you can't get there overnight is the first piece of advice. You know, I told my wife that when she was going to leave me because I had lost my values and I wasn't doing, saying, thinking, feeling, believing the way I was when she met me. And I was a liar, a cheater, a manipulator, overseller, back-end seller. And she saw the writing on the wall. I was not being kind to my future self. And I know at that time, with my own wife, looking forward and saying to myself, okay, what values are you going to take stock in? Who are you? You're not going to find outside of you what you can't find inside of you. And so I think the best advice if someone is, and I told my wife, by the way, when she said that, I said, look, I'm going to change, but know that I can't change overnight. And so let me give you 5 daily practices to go from a scarce mindset to an abundant mindset. And I'm happy to send, by the way, anyone in your community, the 5 daily practices, or even my book. I'll sign it, send it to you, pay for the shipping and the book. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Here they are. Know what you want. Personally, experientially, giving and receiving every day. Know who you can help and who can help you. Know how to use time in order to do, say, think, feel, and believe in the divine direction of it. And then prioritize your day. Prioritize negotiables and non-negotiables, paid for and unpaid for, planned and unplanned activity, and your sleep, which most people ignore.
Sleep is...
It's key. I have a 17-year sleep coach. I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame of sleep, no longer the Hall of Fame of football. I am going to recover and access information better than anyone that you'll ever meet. And then finally, I'll teach you how to apply your why to abundance instead of search for what you already have. You see, in a scarce mindset, you want to be more happy all the time, more healthy all the time, more wealthy all the time, and more worthy all the time. In an abundant mindset, I am healthy, I am wealthy,
Yeah.
I am happy, I am worthy. What am I doing to interfere with it?
Yep.
Because I live in an infinite, abundant, unified system of thought, and I'm part and parcel of that. And so I'm applying my why, not searching for something I already have. Most people that are scarce are searching for what they don't want, what's missing, or what other people want for them. And then when they get what they don't want, what's missing, or what other people want from them, they're resentful, guilty, and shameful of it.
Yeah. What you said that really stood out to me there was that I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am doing it. And I think that to get there, you have to have that self-belief that you're just there. And there, like you said, there's a few little pieces missing. To dissect that a little further, how can you coach somebody to start having those self-beliefs that they are wealthy, they are healthy, they do have this amazing life and opportunity?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So I start with non-negotiables. See, I've learned one thing, that what we're committed to do every day, 7 days a week, what we are committed to do that every single day gives us 90% of the exponential success in our life. So let me break it down for you. What I do for people when I coach them is I start with sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I go ahead and I help them sleep better for 7 or 8 hours. Then I say, let's prioritize the next 3 or 4 hours of your day, what you're committed to. So most people, I give them a minimum of an hour a day on their health, a minimum of an hour a day with their family. Notice I said minimum because you can go over. Minimum of time with finance, minimum of time with faith, minimum of time with researching or being more interested than interesting, minimum of time studying time. And so let's say that you're, 7 hours of sleep, 3 hours of non-negotiables, meaning every single day you're committed to doing that amount of time. It's the other 14 hours of variant behavior, doing whatever you want every day according to the circumstances of the day, the interest rates, the COVID, the car flat tires, the in-laws being in town, whatever it may be that happens. It doesn't matter, because no matter what, you're taking care of your sleep and your non-negotiables. But it's the variant 14 hours of awake time, the variant 14 hours of 17 hours of awake time, the majority of your awake time, doing whatever you want, that although only provides you 10% of the outcomes comparatively, those are the variant behaviors that allow you to be inspired and happy doing the minimal amount of time being committed and disciplined. Without the 14 hours, human nature would never allow you to do stuff every single day if you weren't intentional about your sleep, your negotiables, and your non-negotiable time. Well, you are a young CEO of Shane Homes.
Yes, sir.
You have the Shane Homes podcast.
Yep.
And obviously you are a real estate mogul at a young age, but most young real estate moguls have some sort of mentorship, some sort of guidance, some sort of lessons, dummy tax that has been paid before them, especially if they're this successful at such a young age. For you, what was that path into being so successful at a young age in real estate?
Paying a lot of the dumb tax.
Yeah.
Paying a lot of the dumb tax. I actually haven't really had many mentors. I've had a couple like family friends that I've consulted when I was first getting started in investing. And that really helped me scale a lot, just kind of taking their small tips. Other than that, it's just brute force of trying it out and failing and learning from that.
We were talking earlier about hitting home runs. Number one, is it important for you to hit home runs in real estate?
No.
Or are you a singles and doubles guy?
No, because you don't have to. Like you don't have to get greedy, and when you do, you pay for it. When I'm investing into a real estate deal, I'm running the numbers, I'm looking at it, and it's a simple yes or no. Is there a margin for a flip? Yes or no. Does it cash flow for a rental? Yes or no. If it doesn't fit any of those, I broker it. I sell it to someone else.
It's such a smart methodology. And the good thing about real estate is, number one, all the laws in America from the Constitution on have had one purpose: to protect the landowner. So albeit historically, you're taking advantage of every law created because the purpose of the laws was to protect the landowner. Two, that things are historically secular in nature, meaning that we can look to the past to understand the cycles of real estate. Three, math. Very few businesses can rely on the math of the business.
Right.
And what I love about real estate, and have always loved about real estate, is that I love math. And what I loved about your strategy in real estate, even though you paid the dummy tax just like I have, is that if the math doesn't make sense, I don't understand why so many people move forward.
Yeah.
Or why they don't check the math first or seek guidance of the math. Why do you think so many people ignore the math and just utilize their emotions to invest in real estate?
I think it ultimately comes down to ego. Everyone wants to be an investor, and rushing into investing into real estate creates issues of having to pay that tax, of losing your ass on a deal, and then going, oh, that didn't feel good. I'm either not going to do this business at all, or I'm going to start doing math. And I always hated math. In school, when I was in high school, I had like 2.2, had to take algebra 4 times. Like, I was not a school guy at all, but now I love math. I love it. If the math doesn't work, I don't work. It's just, but yeah, so that's one part. And the other part of my business, which has been the bread and butter of everything, is my real estate brokerage. So helping people buy and sell, and then using those funds to invest in the real estate. That's pretty much it.
One of the things I keep hearing about your approach has to do with community. My business model is an execution model that's capture all options, opportunities, and touches of favor. Distribute them according to capability internally at my company or externally at those that I know in my community. Prioritize the options, opportunities, and touches of favor that I have, and then either execute on the prioritized one or even redistribute it again to someone more capable than I am. In law and in real estate, referrals can be greater in profit or margin than the actual execution on a deal. How often are you referring out business, and how important is that to your real estate empire?
So we just started the firm this year. So that entails
The whole 5 months.
Yeah, exactly. So I started when I was 20. So I've been doing this for a decade now. And a lot of that was just kind of lone wolf, going after it, just taking what I can kill and just running it that way. Now, as I'm becoming older and a little more educated, starting to use other people more. So now we have 4 employees, and we're starting to bring more people on as real estate agents to facilitate the deals that don't make sense for me to do. So that's sort of the scale that we've been doing, but it took me 10 years to kind of figure out, and also honestly be busy enough to have the overflow of leads, flips, construction, whatever it is, to distribute to other people.
It's such a good point that, a cup overfloweth. And if the cup's empty, you shouldn't be focusing in on giving away what you don't have.
Right.
We want to fill our own glass first. We want to put on our own mask first before we take care of others. And one of the things that I find about good-hearted entrepreneurs, especially when they're young, is a lot of times we feel as if we need to immediately start giving to others before we fill our own cup. Have you had any experience with understanding and learning about giving, receiving, asking for more, the whole abundance in real estate compared to some scarce and yet abundant philosophy that I need to help everyone else first?
Yeah, like I've brought on team members before when, and this is kind of like a 2-part mistake. One is I didn't have just an overflow of leads, like here you go, here you go, here you go. But the other part of it was communicating before bringing somebody on and saying, hey, like there will be some opportunity for you here. There will be lead flow, but it's not gonna be your bread and butter. I'm gonna teach you how to fish. That's gonna be your bread and butter. And if I have overflow, then you'll get that. And so I have those conversations up front now, and I only hire when I actually have overflow.
One of the difficult things in real estate, also in my business, is that when our mission is to empower others, that we can't be afraid of them starting their own businesses. And it's a two-edged sword because one, we can't be afraid of that. We need to lean in and say, look, my mission is to empower Milad to start his own business because there's plenty of business. There's more than enough of everything. But I think the more damaging one as I got older is that in empowering the young people to empower others, which is clearly my mission if you watch my videos, that those people don't believe it. And so they lie to themselves and lie to others. They cheat, manipulate, steal, oversell, back-end seller in fear that you are not supporting them. And then they end up in the end not getting your support because they're shady, they've lied, they've stolen business from you, they've done all the things that you would have helped them, especially when you're like you and I are doing content telling people these things up front. What's a greater fear for you? People leaving you or people lying to you and not asking for your help to leave you?
I think that anybody who doesn't have the mindset that there is so much abundance out there is going to have a really hard time in life. So I don't fear people leaving because there's always so much to go around that even if I train someone and they go, it's not going to affect me. Like, okay, maybe there's a deal or two over the next decade that we go up against each other. Maybe. So I think that the alternate is clearly the bigger fear is someone screwing you, especially in the real estate business, which is very possible.
Right.
Which I have dealt with on crazy occasions of doing business with people and things going south and people cutting water lines to my properties and crazy stuff like that. That's the real fear in business.
And then business is amplified today. Not only is it experiential in its nature, not only is it business development of providing value, which I define clearly as giving people more of what they like, taking away what they don't like, but it's amplified in its nature because even our own activity as business people becomes content. In other words, the whole world is your stage. So even as little as 10 years ago, if somebody would have told me that I'd be sitting on my deck at my office at SoFi Stadium and the majority of my day would be spent talking to, hospitality people, CPG people, real estate people that nobody's ever heard of, doing content, I would have told them they're absolutely insane, that it wouldn't be worth it. But because of the size, scope, and scale of the audience and understanding how people today consume opportunity through content, that I spend the majority of my day creating content to empower others, to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. And this interview to me is proof of exactly that. How important for you, because you've done business for those 10 years. And I know when you were 20 and you started, you could not imagine sitting at SoFi Stadium doing an interview with me.
No chance, bro.
Right?
Literally.
So how has that evolved for you, and what advice do you have to entrepreneurs about regardless of your industry, career, or job, the utilization of content?
Content's huge. We're able to document what we're doing, how we're doing it, and like you said, distribute it to people. And when you don't have that scarcity mindset, you're not scared to tell people what you're doing. So I will tell people down to a T exactly how I'm transacting, exactly how I'm winning listings. I'll give away my listing presentation to people because it doesn't matter. There's more, and then more. So, but to answer your question directly, content's everything. And that's why we've started finally going all in on it. And I brought on my guy, Tyler, who's behind the camera over there, because it's everything.
Yeah, it's so funny because as the economy changed, interest rates went up, inventory went down, and a variety of other things happened in the industry. Over 50% of the people in the real estate industry left like that, which I thought and still do. What a great thing, because 50% of the people have left, and most of them, if not all of them, are scarce.
Yeah.
They're the ones cutting the water lines. They're the ones lying, cheating, overselling, back-end selling. They're the ones that are not more interested than interesting. In other words, we got rid of the people that are counterintuitive to my favorite line, right? Be kind to your future self.
Yeah.
Do good deeds. Now you have a whole group of people that are being kind to their future self, sharing their wisdom and inspiring you with their faith. For you, do you see the people that have left the industry being a good thing for you or a bad thing?
People leaving the industry, I have a soft spot for it because I remember being that new agent and just barely staying above water. So I do have a soft spot for that. But as a net effect to the industry, it really benefits the people that are actually working hard and providing value. Because before, you could have your super access on your phone, go open doors for people, put a house up with iPhone pictures on the MLS, and it'll sell. So that's gone. Now it requires real salesmanship. You need to be able to have those harder conversations with
Real
people.
marketing, real salesmanship.
Exactly.
Real closing ability.
Yes. So only those people are left, which for the industry is better because if you're really working hard right now, you're taking a lot of market share. So as things slowed down, I actually almost doubled or tripled my expenses on a monthly basis in the slow market because there's so much opportunity. So I feel bad, but at the same time, it's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, because the people that don't believe, don't think, and don't feel aligned with where they want to be or better aren't doing and saying what they need to do to get to where they want to be or better. And so in actuality, when we double down during hard times, we get an exponential competitive advantage because most of the people that don't think, say, believe, and feel have dropped out or aren't willing to spend the dollars in market and lean in with their dollars. So now the impact of your dollars is exponential.
Yes.
In what you do, whether it be content or traditional marketing. Now, speaking of traditional marketing, everybody understands the social side and the social silos, but I'm still a firm believer there's 4 ways to get clients and keep them. And they apply specifically to real estate, or I should say, especially to real estate. 1, in person. How important is in person today?
So social media is just a lead. It's a lead to a conversation, or it's an advertisement that brings someone in, and then it's either a phone call or a sit down to close. So the in-person, whether it's an open house or a sit down and close, you're not making the money unless you're strong in person.
Yeah, and you tied in the second one, which is the phone. And how important is the phone?
Without the phone call, there's no appointment after. You don't get the in-person. So
Right.
You got to be very proficient on the phone. I've never been a big cold caller. I always found a better use of time than to straight cold call. But once I have an open house sign-in, I'm calling those people. And that's how I'm making money. So you have to be consistent and strong on the phone. Absolutely.
And then the third traditional, and it wasn't traditional when I was your age, but it's traditional today, is email. Are you utilizing email beyond the social aspect?
Yeah. So I have a database of about, I think it's 6,000 people, and we send out like weekly emails to just stay top of mind. And that's also what I kind of like social media for my existing clientele base. I'm just top of their mind. So someone that's been following me since high school randomly DM me, hey, I'm looking to buy a house for $800,000 in Thousand Oaks. And then what you were talking about earlier, you pass that off to one of your other agents and the deal closes and everyone's happy.
Very happy. Now, I've created a 5 to Thrive system in sales, which I teach literally now because of social media to millions of people. It's teaching them how to stimulate interest, which you use social media in other aspects, to transition that interest, which you use as a phone call. Then to share a vision is the articulation of quantitative value to exceed what you're asking for, which is usually a sit down for you. Mm-hmm. But the fourth component is, for me, 80% of where success lies. And I call it managing and developing a vision. And it takes time to take a client that says yes to you, and after they've said yes, because time, emotion, and value has changed, to continue to align their timing and risk tolerance with the change in the time, value, and emotion. So you have to actually spend 80% of your time managing and developing that relationship. So not only will they close on what they promised, verbally, in writing, or even with consideration, which is a signed agreement with money, a deposit, but more importantly, they will not only buy from you, but they'll sell for you if you manage and develop that vision correctly beyond getting an agreement.
Yes.
What are some of the tricks you've learned in your 10 years to help manage and develop the vision of your clients so that not only they buy from you, but they sell for you?
So I'm a big fan of separating yourself from the crowd, and whatever that means in your business. So for us, we really specialize in helping our clients find off-market properties. Every agent's going to send you Zillow, Redfin, Trulia. It's like you got it on your iPhone. What value is my broker providing to me if I can already pull up an app and look at it. Yes, there's negotiation to help actually close that deal, but a lot of agents are good at that. So we have a system to help find our, off-market properties for our clients. So we do about 30% of our deals off-market. So, and it works for both parties. They're getting a better deal, and the seller doesn't have to go through a million open houses. There's a slight commission reduction to the seller. So it's like a win-win. And so that's sort of the roadmap that I've developed for my clients, that I show to them up front. Hey, this is what we're going to do. And then the other side of it is executing. Hey, our campaign's going out. Hey, I got some phone calls today. Do you want to go see this one? This 2.3 million North Ranch, it hits all your criteria. Let's go check it out. And so that's how we operate.
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity, as well as understanding how to thrive, especially when we're at a young age and 2 clients turn to 4, 4 turn to 8, 8 turn to 16. And you utilize, when we're building a community of people that buy from us and sell for us, we're using divine time. We're not just using instantaneous gratification.
Tell me more about
time.
that. What do you mean by divine time?
Divine time says that I may not get the deal today, but I've managed and developed your expectations to protect you, promote you, show you truth and love in the opportunity, saying, I don't have what you're looking for. I don't need to oversell you, back end sell you, lie to you, manipulate and cheat you today. And when I do that, it may be 2 years from now, or maybe even 10 years from now, but that divine time will give me the opportunity at the right time, at the right place.
I like that.
And then that person, even though they may not come about for 10 years, they may have sent you 5 clients because you were the only one not BSing them.
Yeah.
And so I believe in divine time and divine direction in any business. And that's what I see in Shane Holmes and with Shane Dolgerhoff. He is an amazing entrepreneur at such a young age. Not only has he paid the dummy tax, but he's paying it forward. He is one of those people that adheres to my golden rule of being kind to your future self by doing good deeds.
That's perfect. David, thank you so much for having me out here. This has been an absolute pleasure. This is so much great information for all the listeners. Thanks again.
Thank you for having me. Remember, be kind to your future self and do good deeds.
Thanks,
Thank
bro.
you, man.